Chapter 19. To understate it, I overslept. I'd mistakenly counted on Hunniker, who usually wakes me at noon, the very second he hits the store. His Sunday hours are 12 to 5, and while his species may have decided to let sleeping dogs lie, a sleeping cat is another matter. But this morning it hadn't worked. It took a fire engine to wake me, and by the time I got over to Berry Street, it was nearly 4:45. I saw Mehitabel wave from the window. 7:30, she hollered. Sam, remember the rally, she added. Right. We'll be in the trees at the corner of Berry. I didn't answer. I hate to lie, so I sort of ducked it and gave her a wave and a wonderful smile, and went off to the trees. The matinee had apparently ended. The theater lobby was leaking a crowd, and I simply ignored them and cut to the alley, an angular ribbon that ran from the trees to the back of the theater. I looked at the door and deciphered the usual list of instructions. Berry Street Theater, deliveries only, employees only, and ring the bell. I vaulted upward and rang the bell. It rang noisily somewhere close, but nothing happened. I rang it again. The same identical nothing happened. I retreated and traced the wall. About 1.5 yards from the door, I spotted a low and convenient transom that apparently led to the basement. I approached it and squinted in. Between the usual rusty columns of the usual rusty bars, I had a wonderful view of nothing. Looking up, I could see a ceiling. Looking out, I could watch the air, and looking down, I could see the dark and encrusted plane of the lowered glass. It opened flat, like an oven door, and I had a flicker of Hansel and Gretel. It didn't matter. I didn't care. The way I figured, an open window is an open window. You take what you get. Major error. I hit the glass, and the instant I landed, it whanged to the wall, collapsing from under me, popping its nails and projecting me out like Newtonian apples, falling and plop! I had landed plop on another planet. Terrible moons and regrettable stars in a maddening orbit circled my head and tickled my whiskers and flicked at my tail. I lay contented and watched the show. After a while, I gathered my breath and came to my senses and looked at the room. In every direction, a tower of cartons. Dozens of cartons in teetering tiers, a mini Manhattan, an urban skyline, a city of boxes, row upon row. I thought discreetly of answered prayers. I spent the weekend pursuing a box, and now I landed in downtown Boxville, ready for action. I leapt to my feet. Another air. I tried it slowly, stretching my body, taking my time. After all, I'd taken an unexpected tumble of 20 feet, and I'd managed to make it. A couple of aches, kinks, and twinges were really fine. I started scanning the nearest boxes, looking for labels, looking for "Balg" in a magic marker. I found a swords, but the box was empty. I found a socks, a silver serape, a Titan's tunic, a tins of tuna, a tons of tinsel, a tubes of tonic, a tubs of treacle, and oh my goodness, I caught the clue. It was alphabetical, looking for the bees. I started moving. Man, I was hot. I was starting to smell it. Sandy was here and the voyage was over. I spotted the bees, baubles, bangles, bandages, balls, ball gowns. Bingo! Sandy, I hollered. Sandy, 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 I shrieked. It's me! I made a racing dash to the carton. Then I skidded, came to a stop, and stared unblinkingly into its middle. Nothing was in it. Nothing was there. I'd come 1,000 miles to this minute to find it was nothing. I fell to the floor, and that's when he whispered. It wasn't much, but it had a Sam in it. Sandy? Where? You're the detective, he offered. Look for the darkest corner and look for the crate. I found the crate. It was one of those terrible wooden crates with the wooden slats that you would stick your vegetables in. A lousy padlock hung from its lid. Sandy stared at me out of the crate. Altogether, he didn't look beaten, bitten, battered, batted, or bruised, except for his ego. Anything new? I decided to open. Nope, not a thing. Same old, same old. How about you? Nothing important. Who's got the key? Sandy was laughing. Wonderful, Sam. You think you can beat them? Casey and Slow-Mo? Course I can beat them. Day at the beach. It took him a second. He blinked his eyes. How did you know about Casey and Slow-Mo? How did you find me? I'm lucky and smart. And that's your story? It's my evening soundbite. Look, I want to get you out of here. Right. You'll be lucky to get yourself out of here. If you do, you can do me a favor. Sandy watched me. I've got a wife. The magnificent Rosie. He angled his head. You've spoken to Rosie? She's stolen my heart, and I'm getting you back to her. Yeah, in a bag. Could we just get serious here for a second? I want you to comfort her, Sam. And say hello to my kids every once in a while. And Sam, make sure that none of them ever has to eat cat slop. Right. Are you finished? He shrugged and then grinned. I guess finished about says it. Of course, Casey, he keeps on trying to tell me that everything's cool. He goes, trust me. And of course the problem is he believes everything's cool. He comes and talks to you? Yeah, quite a lot. He's told me everything. Brings me pastrami and sits here and talks to me. Hey, what a guy. But, you see, the point of it is, he doesn't know that it's me. What are you talking about? Listen. Sandy paced for a while as he talked. It started with Slow-Mo, he said. The plan to do the kidnapping was Slow-Mo's idea. They ran out of money for making a picture. If they didn't finish it, all the money Slow-Mo'd invested was down the drain. So he thinks of the kidnap. Casey refuses. Slow-Mo tells him, I'll do it myself. So Casey cons him. Or thinks he cons him. Friday night they go out in the van and Casey spots me and says, It's Sandy! See, he doesn't believe that I'm Sandy. He thinks I'm a gypsy. He thinks I'm a stray. He's figuring Slow-Mo would phone Mrs. Angelhoff and she'd say to him, Sandy's at home. What are you talking about? And it's over. You see what I'm saying? It's dumber than dirt. It could have been brilliant. Totally brilliant. I thought it over. It's dumber than dirt. A guy like Slow-Mo, you blow him off. You don't try to play him. Possibly so, but he's terribly frightening. And terribly large. You mean Casey's afraid of him? Yes. Yeah, of course. And Casey still doesn't know that it's... No. Slow-Mo stalled him. He told him this morning that Mrs. Angelhoff wasn't at home, so he hadn't talked to her yet. Uh-huh. I'm getting the picture, I said. I squinted up at the padlock. So where's the key?